Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Macabre Mondays presents. Oh, you guys made it back. It was kind of a drag to have a break in there because I miss reading stories to you guys. So, hey, Kevin. Hey, Jessica. Yeah, it's been yeah, I don't know. You definitely noticed there was a blankness in there last week. So yeah, this week I don't know. We're gonna try rereading some of my horror stories, and yeah, see how it goes. I've got better equipment this time around. Yeah, how's it going, Bobby? Um, yeah, so I mean we've got better equipment that seems to be working so far. I remember when I first started out doing this, and I was trying to figure out all the nuances of doing live reads. Um, yeah, I was having a rough time. I remember one time I was interviewing Bobby, and it was about 3.5 hours, and it took us like three times to finally get it. But we did it. So anyhow, this is where we're at now. I think one of the cool things is the b.hive has a lot more followers than we have in the last I don't know, I guess probably last 6 months. We've been really growing. We haven't reached 1,000 yet, but 600 something we've got, almost 700. So I'm pretty happy with that. We definitely have quite a viewership, especially for the coffee podcast, which is something that's very dear to my heart. We don't really plan anything out, even when we have a vet. We just go, and it's it's been a really good time, and I miss the guys when we don't have it. So it's kind of it's grown on me. All of these different live stream podcastings that I do are kind of very near and dear to me. I miss you guys. Not being able to interact with you 3 times a week or whatever it is that we meet up and do these things. So tonight we are going to be jumping back into some of the horror stuff that I've written and published. We're going to start off with my very first horror anthology, Midnight Snacks. And there's a lot of short stories in them. Definitely shorter than the ones I have been reading. It won't take me 8 months to get through this book. But I think what we'll do is we'll leave Mondays open to go through all my horror books. And I know a lot of you guys have already heard some of these stories. And so I appreciate you coming back to hear them again. I have a link on here somewhere. Somewhere around here, there's a link to this book if you're interested in buying it if you don't have it. If you have bought my last book, The Ballad of Broken Bird, and when you finish it, if you could do me a big favor, you guys have already done me a ton of big favors, but if you could do me a favor and go on Amazon and review it for me, whether you liked it or not, please give me a review. The more reviews I have, the more the algorithm will suggest my book to other people, and it also gets some ads on its own. It gets its own I don't know what they call it, but it will start populating ads for the book. So if you guys could do that for me, I'd really appreciate it. So yeah. So anyway, I thought we would jump into hey, how's it going, Chuck? I hope you brought some badgers and bees, because we're back battling the supernatural powers of evil again. So could really use them. Ugh. So anyhow, yeah. So we've got midnight snacks tonight, and we'll probably be going through this probably for about a month, and then we'll go into the next book, which I'm not exactly sure what that book is, but yeah, we'll be jumping into the next anthology. Also, I wanted you guys to know that I have been working on A Woman's Lot, which will be the next big novel. Hoping to have that out by next year. Bobby asked me, I think it was yesterday morning at coffee, when I would start reading that book to you guys. I'm not comfortable with it yet, on how the tale is told, and I had written quite a few chapters within the last week, and then I sat down and kind of read through them, and I was really uncomfortable with the order that they were in, because I know what's going on, but I don't know that that you guys would. So I'm going to sit with it for a while. Hey, thanks, Chuck. Thank you very much for bringing those along. So I started writing in the new horror book that I've been working on off and on in the past year. Not sure what it's going to be called yet. But yeah, I've been working on a few stories. Some of them I've read to you guys already. One of them was the one about the Anti-Claws. The other one was, I believe the Dollhouse one will be in this new one. And the Wolf of the Red Rose will be in there. And yeah, so we'll have quite a few new horror stories for you guys. And maybe that's where I'll pick up as soon as I'm done with that one. So anyhow, I thought without further ado, we'd jump into this book, and if we got something to talk about afterwards, we'll do it. Sound good to you guys? Let's see. How do I get this set up here? Oh, hey, also I want to give a shout out to Arondite Studios, who actually has been doing this music, this background music that I'll be using for the readings. So I hope you guys enjoy it. It's pretty nice. I'll even throw in a dragon. Thanks, brother. I first started listening when you were reading Pin Spots. Oh, okay. All right, yeah. That's a few books away yet. So I don't know. You probably haven't heard the ones from Midnight Snacks yet. Midnight Snacks has been my first horror book, so. Oh, well, sweet. Some of this stuff will be new to you then, Jess. All right. Is everybody snuggled in? Is the music too loud? Can you still hear my voice through the music? I can turn the music down a little bit as well. I'll try not to scare you, Bobby. Midnight Snacks by Bradley L. Bodeker. Please pass the popcorn. My first love in writing has always been horror fiction. Stephen King, Clive Barker, and H.P. Lovecraft were probably the biggest influences on me. Hey, Jody. As a boy, My mother used to take me to movies like Amityville Horror, The Exorcist, Dawn of the Dead, The Incredible Melting Man, etc., etc. I spent nights reading Tales from the Crypt, Tales of Terror, Vault of Horror comic books as a kid, under the sheets with a flashlight. My mom and I would stay up watching old black and whites of Lon Chaney and Boris Karloff. I used to stay up late watching Alfred Hitchcock reruns and the Twilight Zone episodes. These are stories that I've written when I was a kid, and others from the recent past. I've edited some of them as some of the characters were a bit wooden and needed some tweaking to become real. I hope you enjoy my first stab at horror fiction. And perhaps there'll be more someday. In the meantime, open up your mind, pull up the covers, grab some munchies and a beverage, and let's take a walk. Dedicated to Mom, who taught me the appreciation of horror at a young age. I would also like to acknowledge Alfred Hitchcock, Ray Bradbury, and Rod Serling for scaring the bejesus out of a young boy. The Empty Cell. Brody came in as always with his thermos of coffee, a sandwich, and a bag of corn chips in a plastic bag. In the other hand, a paperback sci-fi novel, usually something from Ray Bradbury. His winter cap on and frost gathering on his mustache, he journeyed up the courthouse steps and then hung a sharp right into the law enforcement center. He waved at the dispatcher as she buzzed him through to the jail office. Jimmy Vaughn already had his jacket on and was ready to leave. The other jailer, Nellie Polk, was just coming in from the jail cells after handing out the nightly meds. "What's on for tonight?" Brody asked Jimmy. "Same as always, nothing," Jimmy answers as he spits out his chewing tobacco into the office sink. Brody studies the photo board. It displays pictures of the current inmates of the Moon Valley County Jail, all 22 of them. He knows pretty much all the faces, mostly repeat offenders, probation violations, or DWIs. There is a new face on the board, but it's blurry and a little distorted. "Do you have problems with the MRAP machine?" Brody asked. The MRAP took full 360-degree photos of its subject and downloaded them into a nationwide database. "Oh, that guy?" Jimmy rolls his eyes. "You want to try and photo him? Go for it. That guy's a freak." Brody motions to the photo board with his thumb. "You want to tell me which one of these boys in here isn't?" "True enough, but there's something about Quittem that I don't like. Something going on behind them eyes of his." Nellie rolled her eyes at Jimmy and gave Brody a smile. Brody returned it and attached his radio to his duty belt and fetched the cell keys from their respective hook. They were large and cumbersome, but after Brody's 15 years here, he didn't notice. "I'm going to make a check." He hit the button that released the door, going out into the jail. "Is anybody out on work release?" "Nope," Nellie answered. "They should all be here." Jimmy left and said goodnight as Brody stepped out into the jail cells. All the inmates were either playing cards or watching wrestling on TV. Brody never understood how inmates got 73 channels of cable while he watched 2 snowy local channels at home. Some waved at him, bitched about the evening meals, and some he took a minute or two to converse with. When he came to the last cell that was holding their new inmate, Quittem, He stopped. The air was different, cold and dry. He stepped down the catwalk behind the cell's wall and peeked in through the two-way mirror at Quittem. He was writing on the walls with a nub of pencil. The writing was too small for him to read from here, but Brody thought he better put an end to it. He came around the front of the cell, where there were bars that separated the inmate from the jailer. "What are you doing?" Brody asked with some intimidation in his voice. I'm trying to figure out the pathway," Quittem answered without looking up. "Pathway? Mr. Quittem, I'm not exactly sure what you mean." "The pathway! And I'm almost there. Please, hush. You're gonna have to stop writing on county property. If you need paper, I can get you paper, but you cannot write on county property." Quittem didn't stop. He wrote with a fury, stopping only a few times to ponder a thought, and then return to his work. Brody noticed the guy's lips were chapped and cracked. He was constantly licking them with a dry tongue. Brody went around to the backside of the man's cell, to where the door was. "Mr. Quittem," he hollered, "I'm coming into your cell. I need you to stand up with your back to the wall facing me." There was no answer. He turned the heavy key in the door lock and pulled the door open. Quittem was crouched on the floor, writing with a fervor. Brody spoke into a shoulder microphone for Nellie to come and assist, and then walked in all the way to where Quittem was crouched, being careful to make sure the door didn't lock. "Do you have a problem following orders, Mr. Quittem?" Brody was getting agitated. The walls, table, and floor were decorated with this madman's writing. "May 24th, Quittem spoke. "May 24th, 1984. "What?" "May 24th, 1984. That was the day that God lifted the veil from my eyes and showed me the 8 disciplines." The 8 disciplines. Right. Do they include graffiti? You don't understand. You couldn't understand. Of course, how could you? You're below the comprehension of such infinite conjecture. You are part of an ill-governed machine put together to oppress the free thinkers, the ones who contemplate the reason for existence. But I, sir, I have mastered the 8 disciplines, and I am far beyond anything, even the most scholastic of men. They have been blinding our children. They've put the veil on all of us, but I lifted it. Thanks be to God. So, what are these 8 disciplines, if I may so boldly ask? Brody's face was flushed with anger, but he kept sarcasm around to cap it. You don't want your eyes opened. Besides, there isn't any time. Now go away. I'm about to find a 9th discipline that God himself knew nothing about. All right, Quittem. I don't know what kind of drugs you're freaking out on, but I'm taking your pencil and locking you down until you straighten out. Hey, Kathy Ellen. Quidam almost growled at Brody when he bent over to take the pencil. And then, without warning, Quidam leapt on him and bit into his shoulder. Nellie and 2 sheriff deputies were coming down the hall at that moment and hurried when they heard the commotion. They pulled Quidam off, and they all hauled him off to the isolation cell. The isolation cell, commonly called the quiet room, consisted of a mattress and 4 metal loops to handcuff the inmate down in case he tried to harm himself, and a hole to piss in. A camera sat up in the ceiling so they could keep an eye on him. The mid-shift ended at 10 o'clock, and Nellie had left. Brody sat alone at the controls of the security office, nursing his bruised shoulder. Since the evening's incident, Quidam has been shouting out Bible verses and demanding that Brody repent. This went on and on until about midnight. "I can still find it," Quidam's last words were, and then there was silence. Brody turned up the microphone that was patched into the isolation cell. He only heard whispering. On the monitor, Quidam was writing something on the wall with what looked like his finger. That bastard cut his finger somehow, and is writing in his own blood, he thought to himself. He hit the button on the microphone. "Mr. Quidam, if you've harmed yourself in any way in there, I'll have to 4-point you down." Quidam only started to write faster and faster. Within minutes, the entire south wall was covered in blood. He was starting to write another page on the west wall. "Damn it!" Brody spat. He stood up and punched the button to go into the jail area again. He grabbed some bandages from the first aid kit and then some latex gloves. As he approached the isolation cell, he sat silently with his ear to the door. Only whispers from Quidam could be made out. Brody opened the food port in the middle of the door and peeked his head in. Quidam was squatting there, with a mad stare in his eyes. There was blood around his mouth and the stump of his index finger. He had chewed off the tip and spit it on the floor. "I found it!" Quidam grinned victoriously at Brody. "The 9th discipline! It's all right here!" Brody threw open the door and stopped just short of the entrance. The blood on the walls had congregated into a giant crimson splatter. It was bubbling and things were moving within it. "We're gonna meet God!" Quidam cheered. The blood started to spurt. It flecked the front of Brody's brown uniform and doused Quidam's orange jumpsuit. Brody thought he heard something gargling within the splatter in the wall. He pulled on Quidam's sleeve. "Don't take me away! I'm gonna meet God!" he protested. Dark clots sprung out, and some rested on Brody's badge. He fell into the hallway on his back. The door stood ajar, with his legs in the way. He heard someone rattling at the office door, trying to get out into the hallway to assist him. Brody tried to get up and slipped on the blood pooling on the floor. His third try was successful. The door to isolation slammed shut, and he heard something roar from within. He slipped again, trying to make it to the security office door. The officers saw the wideness of Brody's eyes as he pounded on the door. He saw that one of the officers was trying to punch the button to release the door lock, while the other was trying the fail-safe key. "Open up!" Brody yelled. "Open up, for the love of God!" "I found it!" yelled Quittem from the cell. "I found the 9th discipline, Lord! Have mercy on me!" With that, Brody heard the roar again, and then heard something crack. Quittem's bones, perhaps? He didn't want to know. He just wanted to get in the office where there was a gun. Sudden silence emanated from the cell once more, with a lake of blood coming from under it. There was a mewling sound, and then a loud thump that shook the heavy metal door. Panic was renewed in Brody, and some of the other inmates started to holler with a few choice words. Another thump, and the door started to bend. "Open up this door now! Open it up!" Brody screamed. The door to isolation was hit again, and it came off the hinges. The door landed on the ground. He heard the thing in isolation move towards the entrance, which was only 8 feet from where Brody stood. Its feet splashing around in the dark puddle beneath it. "Slide your gun through the door! Slide it through!" Brody motioned to the drawer that slides from the security office into the hallway. He reached into it and pulled out a 9mm. He cocked it back and waited for it to come. It howled inside the cell. "If this is God, then I'm quitting church," he thought to himself. But nothing came. It was quiet. Only the drip of Quittem's blood came from isolation. "Brody!" the officer called from the security office. Brody waved his hand at them and walked over to the cell cautiously. The door had lain there on the floor with what looked like claw marks and more blood. He swung his head into the cell quickly and then back out. Then he pivoted his whole self to the entrance with the gun drawn, and it was empty. All the blood was draining into the piss hole like rain into a storm sewer. There was no sign of Quittem, except for the raw stub of finger he had chewed off. The security door swung open, and about 9 police and deputies flooded into the hall. You okay, Brody?" one officer asked. "No," he whispered. I don't think I'll ever be okay." And that, my friends, is the end of The Empty Cell. Well, it was just 30 minutes. How about that? Did you guys enjoy that? Kathy, I won't be able to sleep. This is scaring the shit out of me. Well, good. That means I've done my job here. Right? So, anyhow, I hope you guys did enjoy that one. I'm always kind of up in the air about about my older stuff. That music adds a lot. Yeah. Yeah, I thought so too. I read it. I read it without the music, and then I thought, huh. And then I found this track, and I played it, and I'm like, oh hell yeah, this is the way it's gonna do. That was good. Good. I'm glad you liked it. Damn, Kevin says. Well, good. Next week, we'll be reading the next story in Midnight Snacks called "The Hurdy-Gurdy Man," and have to check under the bed tonight. Well, if you think that now, you wait till you listen to next week's. You'll be looking in the dark corners, and every clickety click 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 that you hear, you'll be wondering. So, anyways, I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. It's a nice break from the serious stuff that I wrote. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's weird. I feel like I've been kind of in mourning for Broken Bird. So I don't know what that is, Bobby. But wow, I didn't mean to make you cry, buddy. So anyhow, well, we've got well, the 4th of July is coming up this weekend. Victor 25 would have helped out. Yeah, I know Victor 25 would have been there. I do know that. Victor 25 has been there quite a few times to help out. Yeah. So he's also helped pull J8 off of a few troublesome people. Anyhow, yeah, thank you guys for joining me on this. We've got the 4th of July holidays coming up here this weekend, and we are doing we're going to be doing toe tapping Thursdays, and then we're off for the weekend for coffee. And I know we haven't done a lot of, been doing coffee kind of intermittently, which I don't know, kind of blows me away because that's like our big, I think it's our biggest viewership is the coffee. So, and I missed Pimo last Sunday, but Bobby and I we had a really good conversation. So it was a lot of fun. One of my favorites. So when we get going on a topic, it's fun to kind of throw things back and forth. So anyhow. So yeah, so join Bobby and I on Thursday, and we'll maybe try to have something kind of Independence Day themed or something like that for music. I don't know. I'll have to take a look and see what I got. So, but we'll be doing that, and then I'll be back here Monday, and then I think things should return to normal for a little bit until I head off to Hawaii at the end of July. So yeah, we got that going on. It's funny how this summer my weekends filled up fast, and it's been tough because there's a few people that I need to go see. That I don't know how long they're going to be around. One of those people used to be a drummer in my band, and yeah, his health is not doing good, and I want to see him before he goes. I am hoping, and he is hoping and praying, and you guys know I'm not a religious man, but praying that he'll bounce back from what he's going through. But yeah. So, and then I also need to get down to see Leon. I haven't seen him in a while. I also owe him a book. And I'm interested to see how he reacts to the character that is pretty much him. So summer is over, ready for Christmas. Oh my God. I'm going to be hearing a lot of Christmas in July crap coming from you and Kevin, I think. So anyhow, thank you guys for joining me tonight. Come back on Thursday, hang out with Bobby and I, and we will see you in the funny papers. Peace and a bottle of hair grease. Love ya. Dear, 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 dear.